get started, I guess, all right?
Let's go.
Let's keep that up there. We have a very special episode of Coach today. It is our very first face-to-face conversation. Today we have joining us multiple Titan coaches, our lovely Allison, co-founder. We have Coach Corey of the Titans. And we also have Coach Dom of the Titans. Today we're going to discuss some topics, I guess. I'm Coach Samuel Barcliffe, founder of the VA Titans.
All right, well, welcome to Coached, a show about perspectives. Let's get started by talking about having an organization. So I want to hear, what is it like to have a youth athletic organization, and what makes the Titans different than other youth basketball organizations out there?
I guess I'll start with that first. I don't have an organization. I'm a part of one. I don't have one, but to be a part of the Titan organization is a wonderful thing. It's better than most organizations because we truly care about our kids, our people, our families, our friends. So that kind of separates us. It's genuine. It's not people are not around just for the the money or the fame, or to take over. People are really around because they want to be a part of something great, and that's a difference in our organization than most.
Like Coach Corey says, great organization, focus on the kids, teaching them life, basketball,
For sure.
teaching them everything, giving them the tools to succeed when they get older.
It's definitely, in my opinion, like a fun thing. It's definitely something that I look forward to seeing grow. It's like a baby, you nurture it, and you just watch it blossom and grow, and then it does other things within that. I think having an organization, I don't think it's too different from having one and being a part. I think it's you got your blood, sweat, and tears is there, and I think the next man that comes, I know you guys know when you have a team and those players age up and move up, or they gotta make a move and they gotta do something, then you feel probably more responsible or more a part of that player than any other person in the organization. So I definitely enjoy it. I think it's an awesome thing.
Well, so let's talk about balancing. How do we balance the coaches, the players, the parents? How do you balance everything in an organization that has multiple teams and age groups?
I think it's tough. I think that the balance comes through time. It comes through trial and error. There's things that we do as an organization that we had to learn back when some of these kids were 4 years old, 5 years old. And it was like, it could be some of the smallest things. Like sometimes, for an example, we'll have a team, or maybe it'll be a parent that's new to a team that may have came from somewhere else. And they'll say, well, what about the snack list? What are we doing this? What are we going to do that? And it's like, wow, there's so many levels to that. That's very important. Snack, it's an important thing when I say that, meaning that not every team does it, and the teams that do it, they do it differently, and the reason they do it is very significant. It's not, to me, simple. I remember being a little kid and snack time was like, all right, we get snacks. We did something good. We got snacks. And I remember when we got a little older, you needed to bring your drink, and maybe they had orange slices, at halftime, maybe, or at some point in the game. And then after the game, maybe a parent brought some drinks and some snacks. That was very significant, because it lets you kind of know where you were or how the team was, it's the team you were playing on. And I think that some people just see it as a given. I know with the Titans, we don't do a lot of that. We get right to business. And that's the thing that I think we learned very early in having the organization, because you gotta get the business. Yeah, that's all fun and it's good, but when you really start doing it and you hitting the ground moving, you ain't got time to do a lot of that,
Being transparent, open line of communications. We don't cut no communications off between no teams, no players, no coaches, no parents. You got feedback, we more than welcome to take it.
With Coach Don, it's the transparency piece, the communication. As long as you have that communication, that line of communication with the parents, the kids, that balance is gonna come. You know, it's pretty natural as long as that line of communication is always open.
I think those are really big ones, man, because I struggled with that initially, and that's something, if we can give a tip, I think we all can probably attest to that. Communication is huge,
Yeah.
you know, and it's levels to that. You know, sometimes you might just need to ask the question, you know, and not wait for the question to be asked to you. So I think that's huge. That's something that if you can have a T-shirt and just say communication, somebody look at you crazy, but that's one of the biggest things to try to like get that out there.
So when you talk about youth athletics, a lot of the time you hear about daddy ball, because you've got dads coaching their own kids. What is daddy ball, and how do the Titans avoid it?
I don't believe in daddy ball. That's my thing. I hear a lot of parents slinging that word around, daddy ball. First of all, a lot of athletes belong to some father. You know, we're just the type of fathers that'll step out the norm and actually coach. But the way we separate is, and I think Sam hit it earlier, it's business. This is business. When us as coaches step onto that court, that 94 feet of hardwood, we understand it's daddy and son. It has to be separated. Like I tell my son all the time for the game, like I'm not. When we're in the car, I'm like, hey, I'm your coach. Don't call me dad. So he knows, like, I'm not showing you any favoritism. I'm not gonna show you more love than I show any of the players. I'm a coach now. Mm-hmm. I'm no longer your father. I am your dad after the game's over. But once we in the game, I'm your coach. So you gotta listen to me with the X's and O's. I'm gonna yell at you. But I'm not yelling at you like clean up your room or go do your homework. I'm yelling at you like do your job in the game. So with the daddy ball thing, I think a lot of people just look at it from the wrong perspective. You know, they think like, oh, well, coach is playing his son because he's his father. No, maybe his skill level is where it needs to be. That's why he's playing, or he gives me the effort that's required, you know. And there are coaches that do play their kids regardless of skill level, but that's going to be very transparent because you're going to have kids on the team who are, you know, their skill level is gonna show, you know. But for us, we don't show favorites when it comes to daddy ball. It's like he said, it's business. It's business with our organization. Period.
Definitely, I think that's you hit the nail on the head. That's like, and I think a lot of us can. I don't like to speak for everybody, but a lot of us have kids that we've coached that are very similar to our kids biologically. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I know I don't treat my son harder, but it's definitely not a cakewalk, and he knows it. I know it, and I think at the end of the day, the coaches know it, and we know it that way. That's why we can sometimes let our players/sons act a certain kind of way, because you can't hold them too tight because they're gonna reject that. They every bit of like you and me, you know what I mean? They just ain't showing that maybe, but they just like you. So when you put them in that position of making them feel a certain uncomfort, they're gonna show you that piece of you that's in them. And I've noticed that, I've always known that. With the best way of dealing with daddy ball, if they want to call it that, push your son or daughter as hard as possible, harder than the other kids. And the other kids going to see it. They what are they going to say? You know what I mean? You're always at practice. You're always working. You're always here. Mm-hmm. What are they going to say?
Yeah, I don't believe in daddy ball right now. I'm not coaching none of my kids, but if you ask them, they'll tell you there was no favorites. I actually use them as an example just because I don't want players looking like, that's your dad, that's your dad. No, matter of fact, you get more discipline. Mm-hmm. Just because.
You first want to get it.
Send that message right there. Yeah. There's no favorites out here. No favorites.
That's all I do too. Like he's the first one to get it. If his effort's off, automatically the kids they're gonna go like, well, coach's son, he's not giving 100%. I'm not gonna do it. So from the jump, you have to instill that he's not exempt from the rules or the expectations. You got to set that. And then two, as a coach, treating your kids like you treat your son. You know, especially with me, like I love to treat the kids like I would treat one of my own. You know, because then it lets them know like we're all equal. We in it together, and it makes the chemistry and the team come together a whole lot more when they feel that fatherly figure, that mental. They understand that. Makes them, you know, get along, come together.
More.
Yeah.
So is that a struggle or is that a positive thing for the coach's son to know that he's automatically in a role model kind of position?
It depends on the kid.
Depends on the kid.
Depends on the
Do he
kids.
on the
accept
kid.
it and step up to it, or do he with him?
Yeah. Just
Pressure
depends on the
bust
kid.
pipes.
Yeah.
I think for mine, he it don't phase him in a negative way. It phases him in a, he don't got a problem acting out still. So that just tells me that there's a good balance there, because that's the last thing you want. They gotta be kids. They gotta do certain things. They're gonna joke. They're gonna talk when you shouldn't. They're gonna do those things. If you got a kid sitting there, that's your son, and he's not doing any of those things, that's good discipline. That's good upbringing. But at the same time, I know I tested my dad. I know I tested my mom. I know that those are natural things that are going to occur. So to wipe it clean is kind of like, I don't know, it's supposed to happen. It kind of is refreshing a little bit. I don't even get angry at it. It's more like you shake your head like, man, you know how much more harder you making this. But at the same time, you got to let them be that way, or else they're not going to want you to coach them.
No.
I've had coaches that had kids that played on our teams, and it just didn't work. We've had coaches that have been a part, and it's like, dude, you love your daughter, but you pushing them so hard that it's like they hate this now, and it's like for no reason they hate it. But then you have some situations where you can kind of teach that father. You're not trying to teach them like they're not good enough, but sometimes they have to see the example, and they see it, and they have better relationships, and they start to coach their children better. I've definitely seen that occur. I've seen that in some awesome coaches now.
That daddy ball thing is it's tough. It can be tough at times, because I'm telling you, like we all saying, it depends on the kid. Like my son, I just prepare him in general. I let him know, look, because you my son, the spotlight is on you. So I'm just telling you right now, all the kids, they're gonna look at everything that you do. You miss a shot, it's gonna seem like you shot an air ball every single time, because you're the coach's son. So one, you gotta have tough skin. Your skin has to be so tough to be the son of a coach. You have to have super tough skin, because not only are you getting it from me, but you're getting it from 12 other people.
Everybody.
And then you getting it
And
from
then
your dad.
And then if you don't
after
play
the
good
game.
after the game, it's tough. But I think it's a positive, because in the end, the coach's son always gets a better advantage, because they've been through so much. So when they really get a coach that's like really crazy and all over them, they can handle it.
That's true.
They can handle it.
So
So
better in stride.
yep, it's definitely a positive. Definitely.
Definitely.
So besides the things we've talked about, what are some mistakes that you see other coaches make, that you've made yourself in the past, that you see other organizations making? What are things that coaches should be avoiding because they're mistakes?
Favoritism. There are some coaches that show an extreme amount of favoritism, and you can see it. You can see it, and it doesn't set a great example for the players, and it reflects, because sometimes the ball that's being played is selfish. You can kind of see that. The chemistry's off. Another thing too is just not being that role model. Some coaches can't separate the mentor aspect of being a coach. Like, you're a coach, but you're also like, some of these kids, you're their dad, you're their friend, you're their uncle, you're their everything. And some of these coaches look at it like,
Okay.
you out here to give me W's. That's what you're here for. And if you ain't giving me W's, I don't care about you. So, and I've been on both sides of that. I played for coaches who don't really care about wins and losses. They care about you as a person. You can see it in the team. Like, everybody's like, man, we doing this for coach. We doing everything. They giving 150%, diving on loose balls. They doing everything. There's that coach that's about wins and losses, and looking good on camera and looking good for the crowd. It's a totally different team. It's a showboating team. Everybody's out there to get theirs, and it's 12 individuals. It's not a team. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things I see other organizations do, and we see it a lot. Even us playing at the Fieldhouse. Fieldhouse it's a good league. It's not like AAU or anything like that, but you see a lot of these coaches, like, you wonder, like, what is he doing this for? You know, like, why is he even here? You know, he's wasting the kids' time. He's wasting the parents' time. They don't really care about the kids. They care about winning more than the person. You know, I think that's something that should be considered when you coach.
Yeah, I think that's a realistic thing you said. The reason I say that, there was a player that we actually had, and it's amazing because there's a particular individual that considers themselves a coach in some aspects that talks to the players in a very negative fashion and just not in a good way. But to give you the mentality of that particular coach, the first opportunity they could to approach that same player to ask, hey, you want to come play with us and hey, come do this opportunity over here. It's like, wow, you were just talking to that kid in the worst way. You were trying to actually get that kid suspended and removed from even being a part of this particular facility. And the first opportunity you get to speak to that person, I guess you think away from people to see, you want to recruit them. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, wow, what are you in it for? You know, what are you really in it for? And
Dirty aspects.
yeah, it's like,
Dirty.
Let's talk about that for a second. What do you think about recruiting at this age?
I think that
Which age, though? Which age?
Well, for youth, right? So we're not at a collegiate level. We're not being drafted. We're kids playing for teams, you know. So what do you think about coaches who go watch other games not to learn the team and the plays and the style, but they're looking for who can I bring, who can I go get and recruit to my team?
Yeah, that's expected.
It's part of the game.
It's expected.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
it's expected. It is part of the game. I think. What do I think about it? I don't think a coach, unless they're recruiting for the next level for the particular person they're recruiting for to better help that particular person, should be doing that. If you're not recruiting to help that particular person, if you see a kid, and we all and the way our organization is, we get all types of kids. We get great talent. We get kids that have some behavior issues. We get some players that just need a lane to stay in to do. We get players that love this and they take advantage of our system because it's awesome, because year round with good coaches and help, it's hard to find. But you get like a situation where you got to look at these coaches and hold them accountable when they want to talk to your player, or they want to talk, because sometimes I feel it can be taken the wrong way, but it's like, if you're not trying to help them, then you're gonna hurt them. And some of these kids, I've had experiences. I remember back when I first started coaching, I had a squad of boys for a good 5 years. Got them good and tight. And I wasn't on that level of competing like that. I was more on the level of just getting them better. That's a good lane for some kids, not the best lane for others. I know for a fact a few of my players left to go play some AAU ball, which is good. I support the heck out of it. They continue to play with me. But the few players that also did that, the coach was on a different mindset. And some of those players didn't thrive in that mindset at all. And it really made for a bad situation, not to blame the coaches, but that's just the impact coaches can have when they do that recruit. Because if you're out there for your mission, you got to look at the destruction you can kind of leave. I don't know if that's a harsh word, but you got to look at the impact you leave, and if you're doing it for the right reasons, it's cool. You see certain talent, you want to nurture, get better. But if you're just trying to look for the short-term gain,
Opportunity.
you know what I mean? You can really screw a lot of stuff up. And it's to what end? To win something. Like I know there's a lot of coaches now that have won things in like the 1980s, and I sit there and I think it's awesome. Or 1990, 94, 95, 96. That's a long time ago when we dealing with this generation. But and that's good and that's awesome. The game evolves, the game changes, and the way that some of those coaches deal with some of these kids and how they go about it is not the way that's going to work. And it's good for the selfish reasons, and we all know that. If you're getting a paycheck and you out here with the kids, that's cool and that's great. But that's why you out here. and you might love it, but you're still getting paid, and it needs to reflect that love. So I think that coaches definitely need to have a little bit of we need to hold them a little bit accountable. You know, when you see a coach, for example, and I hate to be so long-winded, but this is a deep topic because it's real. It's so many different pieces. Me and Coach Corey, we witnessed a particular game at a tournament. It seemed like not a tournament, it was a regular season. And it seemed like they brought new players on during the season. Just and that's cool. I can see somebody right now saying, "Ooh, what team don't do that?" What cool? Okay, but why are you doing it? All right, that's my point. Don't you already got some players there? Would they lack something? They don't have something. Teach them it. Train them. That's your imprint. You can always hold that. Like some of my day ones, I always joke on. I'm like, well, y'all the only kids. I'm the only coach y'all really have. What y'all talking about? And I sit down and like everything you do and you know is from the coaches you're around. It's the environment you put them in. And I'll leave it on that because I go long and long and long. But at the same time, I think coaches are definitely playing too much. And parents got to be involved. A lot of that go out the window if parents are more involved. A lot of that goes out the window because your kid get sold dreams and get told this and get told that. And the coaches will carry them for a little bit. But when it's really time, and they ain't got their ducks in a row, coach is not going to fiddle with them. And they're going to be out back. So.
Well, when it comes to recruiting, I mean, if you're trying to compete at that high level, you got to recruit.
You got to recruit.
You got to recruit. I mean,
like you said, it's this generation.
Yes,
now.
I mean,
it's basketball everywhere.
Yeah, so I mean, if you trying to compete for a national championship, you got to go get the best players. I mean,
but it's
or you got to train the best players.
No, I agree with that, and I think that's awesome.
Training too. It's training too,
it has to be training
and working out.
I just think it can't be a. I think that it can't be. I get that, but at the same time, the integrity part, you got to have both. Because the best coaches that win recruit, but they still have integrity, and those are the best winningest coaches. You know what I mean? They just are. And if you see a player in a situation, he's a good player. You see what he can add to you, but you also see that particular player's situation and how it's helping that player. You gotta have some integrity, and I think that's the best coaches have that. The coaches that want to fulfill those slots and follow those coaches don't have that, and they never achieve that. They never achieve that. And they think they're going to, but they never get it. I've never seen it. I watched Pat Riley today. That's one of the most, he's got integrity. You know what I mean? That dude will do what he got to do for his franchise. And he's got the experience to show you that. And, you know, it was just kind of random how he lost to one of the teams he coached to a championship. And it's just amazing how he's got integrity. And you got to look at those types of situations.
You think he has integrity?
I think
he recruited LeBron James and Chris Bosh.
That's business, and that's business.
And he did D-Wade wrong.
He did D-Wade wrong. Didn't give him the money he needed.
That ain't what D-Wade said. Mm-hmm. That ain't what D-Wade said. D-Wade said that he was happy. They on the cruise boat.
They must have given him that extra $40 million.
On that boat when they were dancing, doing the shimmy together, they everything looked like friendship.
Yeah.
But no, you are right. You do. If you want to be the best and you want
you have to recruit.
You have to recruit. That's the truth. I'm just speaking as far as the coaches that do it at a level, maybe the field house level. And it's like you said before, it's a good forum, AAU-ish, not fully that at all. But at the same time, that's the whole point. If it were that forum of AAU fully, we talking about something. But we talking about field house. And it's like the recruiting school, but at the same time,
what are you recruiting for, though?
The
are
reason,
you recruiting to beat this team?
Yeah.
Are you recruiting to make these players better? Are you recruiting to make the best team at the field house? So it's a lot of reasons that coaches recruit. And you said integrity is a huge part of it. Some coaches don't have any integrity. We see that all the time. They just get players off the street and say, hey, we need to beat this team. Play with us. You know, whether it works out or not, they just know adding this extra